Hello everyone. So in this video, we'll go through a Bitscale walkthrough. And in this walkthrough, essentially, we will cover all the basic functionalities distributed into 4 different steps. First will be that for our use case, which will be that we are trying to reach out to those companies in USA, especially the founders of those companies who are doing a revenue of 1 million to 10 million. And they are hiring for the role of SDRs. We'll do it in 4 steps. First will be the lead list generation. We'll generate a list of all these founders. The second step will be enrichment, wherein we'll try to find out the intent and filter these leads further based on what our exact requirements are. And the final and the third step during this would be that during this, I will also go through some of the different Bitscale enrichments that are possible. And the fourth and the final step will be that the leads that qualify, they will be sent to Instantly's campaign that we have already created, wherein we'll add the lead details, their emails, and a templatized email that we'll create. Additionally, a personalized icebreaker will also be added there. So these are the different steps. In essence, like the final and the most important step which will happen here is sending the leads to Instantly, and before that, intent classification using these 3 parameters, which are B2B, whether the company is B2B or not, whether they are a HubSpot user or not, and whether they are hiring for the SDR roles or not. So yeah, let's get started. For the first step, I will create a grid. Now, since I want to fetch the founders, I will select this find people option. Of course, there are other options here as well, and depends on the kind of workflow that you're trying to set up. I will, for this workflow, use find people option. Once I do that, you will see that there are these different various filters which I can use to filter out my leads. I'll try to find out the filter categories which are relevant to me. For example, I want to reach out to founders, so I will put in the job title as founder. Yep. So I will select founder, co-founder as well for safety, and I'll also add founder and CEO. So we have put in the first filter. Now we'll try to put in the company location, or let's go with person location. We'll put in San Francisco. Right. Now we'll put in the revenue filter, which will be that I want to reach out to only those companies that have a revenue between 1 to 10 million. So I do this. Let me then preview the results. Yeah. So based on these filters that I just put in, I have got around 6,000 matching leads. Now I'm just reviewing the first 100 of them. And for these 100 leads, you will see that I have fetched these column details, which are like the name of the person, some details around their job, their LinkedIn URL, and company related info. Now I can proceed to my next step, which is the enrichments and qualifying these leads. So I will import it into a new grid. I'll just select this and I will name this filter. Why this filter naming will be important is because if I want to fetch more of these leads later, I can do that. We'll just see how that works. But let me just name this as founders San Francisco. Now you will see that this grid is very similar to a Excel or a Google Sheet like interface. We have got these different columns, and for each row we have got different leads. Now, as you will see at the top, we have just fetched the first 100 leads that we were previewing in the previous step. Of course, if I want to fetch more from that filter that we created, we can do that as well using this add rows function. How we can do that is if I click on this add rows and select the source. Now here the naming would come in handy, wherein I had named it based on the kind of filters that I put in. I can select that and put in the number of new rows that I want to add. How this helps out is that once you're trying to test out your campaign, test out your workflow, and you do not want to import all of the leads together, you can start with a few hundred. Once you're confident enough, you can move on to importing more and more leads. So I will fetch the rows. It will take some time and you will see that the rows have been updated. Now, we have got these different leads, but we'll now need to qualify them based on some of the intent points or variables that we have in mind. For example, in our case, it is filtering them based on if they are a B2B or a B2C, if they have a HubSpot setup for their company or not, and finally, if they're hiring for a SDR role or not. So let's go step by step. Now, how do we add any action or any enrichment? For that, we use this add column functionality. And if I click on it, you'll see that there are these different 4 options, but action column is the main USP of the platform. We'll go into others as well as the need comes, but action column is the place where we need to get started. We'll click on it. We'll see that a new action column is created. I need to configure it. What does configuration mean? It essentially means that you need to select the tool and it depends completely on the kind of enrichment that you want to do. And for each of those tools, there might be a different way to configure it. For example, for a ChatGPT like tool, you will need to provide a prompt. Now, since we want to take a look at the company's website to make a determination if they are a B2B or a B2C, we'll go click on that tool here. If I just go back and click, if you click on this, you will see a pop-up here with like the list of all the tools that are available, or a list of all kinds of enrichments that you can do. Of course, at the top, we have provided a few categories. You can also search for a particular action or a kind of enrichment that you are trying to do, and you will get some suggestions. Now, for the first enrichment which we are going to do, B2B and B2C, we already have a template in place, and templates are very interesting, especially these action templates. If I just click on it, you'll see that we have these different templates, and this is just to help people get started for common enrichments. For example, classifying B2B and B2C is a very common use case most of the times people use. So we have templatized it, and you can just use it as is. I will just need to click on that, and you will see that all my prompt, like my tool has been selected, my pre-written prompt has been populated, which like essentially tells what to do when you go to that website. And I just need to provide the link column. So I will give the link column as company URL column. And let me just show you, this is the company URL column. So now I will save it. Once I save it, this action for me is done. Now I will create the next enrichment, which is checking for HubSpot enrichment. So how do we do that? Is that again, I will need to create action column. And we also have a tech stack finder that is usually present in research section, but we can find it using the search bar or search option as well. And this is the tool here. We have an integration with BuiltWith for it. It gives you the list of all technology stack that this company is using. So we'll use this. And I will need to provide the company domain, which is company URL column. I'll just save this. Let me just name this as, yeah. Now let me just pull in one like result for this and show you what else we need to do here. For example, I clicked on it, and what we are seeing that it has found around 169 technologies that this company is using. If I click on it, you will see that it has given me a comma separated list. But of course, I need to like look through this and find out if there is any HubSpot mentioned or not. Now there are different ways to do that. We need to, of course, we need to create another column, and you would be seeing that this format is very similar to an Excel, wherein you go on Excel, you put in some inputs and you create multiple formula columns, and those columns might like be of the same complexity, or the complexity might increase. I can do it using formula column as well, wherein I can search for HubSpot inside the string that is there in tech stack. But we can do it using action column as well. Suppose I create an action column here, and I'll select the cheaper one, which is ChatGPT Mini, because it is a very simple use case. I'll select this, and it is a lot cheaper as well, which is 0.1 credit, so it should not be costing much. I'll just name this as HubSpot used. How will be the prompt here is that I will just provide, and this is one of the powers of writing or defining columns on our platform, is that you can refer previous columns using @ if you are writing a prompt. How do we do that? Is that I will write something like, I'll refer the tech stack column here and provide all the technology stack. I will say output only yes or no, and yes. I now save this. Let me just try running it for one of these cells and check. Yeah, so I'm getting my desired results. So I've set up 2 of the enrichments. So now the final enrichment, which is like, are they hiring for a SDR role or not? For that, I will need to fetch the active job posts that are present on LinkedIn. I'll again create an action column. I'll go to the list of tools. I'll search for active jobs. These are the active jobs. I'll select the company profile, which is the LinkedIn profile of the company. This is the company LinkedIn URL. And once I save it, let me just name this as active jobs. And now this will fetch me all the active jobs that company has. Now it is upon me to look out for a particular job that I'm looking for. So let me just run one of these cells. Okay, I don't think this company has any job postings. Let me run it for a few. Yeah. So we have got a job posting here, and you will see that it has 8 job postings, and for each of these job postings we have got like all the relevant details that are usually put up in any job posting. The description, pretty much long description, job function, job level, job type, all these different details. Now I'll need to go through these job postings and determine if there is any SDR related job posting or not, because that is the filter that I'm going to create, whether like this company is hiring for SDR role or not. Again, I will use the GPT mini column. I'll name this as I'll refer the active jobs as active jobs. Now save this. Let me run it for the first 10 rows. So you can see that for these 8 jobs that we found in these 2 leads, both of them are hiring for SDR. Now we are done with our prospecting. Like essentially what we'll need to do now is that we'll check for all these 3 things, like whether it is a B2B, whether it is using HubSpot or not, and whether it is hiring for SDR or not. If like all these 3 conditions are satisfied, we would proceed with creating an icebreaker for them and the next steps. Now, how do we do that? How do we add that condition to proceed? This is where a very nice feature that we have on our platform, which we call as run condition, comes into play. Now, suppose I am going to create and let's keep it simple for now. I will create a very simple icebreaker. I will just fetch the LinkedIn profile of these people. And for that, I'll use this enrich person. LinkedIn integration will provide the person's profile. I'll provide the LinkedIn URL. Save this. I just run it for a few seconds. We'll see that like a dictionary, we have fetched all the relevant details that a person has put up on their LinkedIn profile. We will just take a look here and find out any interesting thing that can be mentioned about them in their reach outs. So, and now one additional thing which I talked about, which was run condition. We do not want to run this for all of these. We only want to run it if like these 3 things are satisfied. So I think for that we'll need to add a run condition. That is where this settings is where we'll need to go. Here you will see this run condition. Now we also have a documentation to help you out with how to write good run conditions and how actually run conditions are written. But essentially they are like a simple syntax that helps you to determine, like based on true and false, that if this condition is true, only then run this. Only for those rows you need to run this call, this enrichment. So for example, I want to check that this column should have a B2B. So the name of this column is this. This is equal to B2B, and we have 3 conditions which needs to be satisfied, and HubSpot, whether HubSpot is used or not, this should be yes, and whether SDR hiring has happened or not, this should be also yes. Now this is the run condition that I needed to set it up. Of course, like for those cells which do not satisfy the run condition, you will get this prompt. It will only run for those where the run condition is satisfied. Now, similarly, we'll move ahead, wherein like now using this person's LinkedIn profile, I will now create a icebreaker. I'll name this as icebreaker, name and provide the LinkedIn profile that based on the LinkedIn profile. Cold reach out. This is like the basic prompt that I have given. I'll now provide the LinkedIn profile. I'll guide the output a bit now. Output only. If you want, we can add the run condition here as well. Of course, that would help. So let me just copy the run condition that I created here. I'll just copy it and add it here as well. And now what I will do is actually I already have a template in mind of the email. I just need to add the icebreaker to that. So for that, we do not need to use any, AI related actions. We can just do away with a simple formula column. And this is where like this simple formula column comes into play. Now I'll just name this as email template. So this is like my email template that is now created. I have added the personalized icebreaker. I've added the initial, hi, the name of the person. So this is my email that is created now. Now I just need to do the final 2 steps, which is fetching the email and then finally pushing it to instantly. So let me quickly do that. I'll create 2 action columns here. One will be to fetch emails, and I think like most people use like separate tools. They have a preference wherein they want to use a particular provider, but what we have provided on our platform is that an email waterfall, like where we have integrated with a few other services, but we have our own offering as well, which is essentially an aggregation of different providers. For emails, we have around 12 providers that we provide. So if you just select this, and you just need to provide the initial variables here, for example, the name of the person, the company name, the company domain, and the LinkedIn URL of the person. Once you are done with this, just name it as email. Save this. If I just run this, it will take some time. In the meantime, I will also set up instantly as well. Push to instantly. Just search for instantly. I already have actually connected my account, and we can do that from this integrations page. It is as simple as going to that integration, adding the API key from instantly. I've already done that for myself. So this is the account that I will connect. I will select this demo campaign, and I will set up the inputs here. For example, the action that I want to do is add the leads. I will add the email column as well. For some reason, this is taking too much time. Yeah, so here you will see that we have fetched a lot of different details for each of these as well, like the email, the provider. We also provide the quality and status as well. Now, and in fact, one of the things that we didn't do here was that if I go to the settings for email waterfall, you will see that this is the order of emails that is used. We can also add a validation step as well, wherein we have our different providers which we can use. For example, Million Verifier is a very good one, so we can use that as well. But once we have this, what we can do is add this column. Like if this has a multiple outputs, I can add each of these outputs as a separate column as well, using this add column that comes to the right of them. So I'll just run this. So I've got the email, so I will use this email column here. So once I go to setup inputs, I will see the email drop down. I will select email. I think we'll have to name this something else. This will be waterfall. Full first name, I'll give the entire name itself. The company name will also be necessary in some cases. And for custom variable, I will add this email template. Email, and here I will provide the email template that we have created. Now I will save this, right? And of course, like for this demo, I just showed like running single cells, but if you want to run multiple rows or columns as well, you can run columns from here. You can run entire columns. If you want to run specific rows, you can select those rows and run it from here. And if you want to run your entire grid, you select it from the top left and run it. It will run all the columns, all the dependencies will be handled, wherein like which column needs to be run after which column. And this template will push your leads to instantly. So this is a very basic. Yeah, so we have set up the entire template that we initially began to set up. Now what we'll do is we'll try and run a large chunk of these rows and see what we get. So I'll select the first 30 rows for this walkthrough and just select all these rows. And once I do that, you will see that there is this run rows functionality at the top. I'll just click on that. Now it will take some moment. If I just go here, you'll see that some results have started to pop up. It will take some moment before the results come in. So let's wait and see what we get. So the results have come now. So we have got the results for these initial 3 enrichments, which was B2B classification, HubSpot technology used or not, and third being if they're hiring for the SDR role. Out of these first 30 samples, only one lead, which was this 7th row, qualified all these 3 filters, which we created as enrichments. So hence we proceeded with only that lead, wherein we fetched their LinkedIn profile. We then created an icebreaker from that and then added it to our email template, wherein we had created a template and added the icebreaker there itself. And then finally we found out the email and send all of it to Instantly, and we got a success operation as well, wherein this lead has been pushed along with this email to Instantly's account. So this was the walkthrough. Try out the platform and let us know what you think. Thank you.